welcome to my channel. My name is Jasmine. I am the HBIC of this channel, aka the host of My Keen Imagination. Listen, it's not a podcast, it's just a place where we get together, we could chat it up and chat about books, chat about stories, chat about shows, what have you and whatnot. But particularly this is my trailer that's going to focus more on the book side of things, as that is mostly the preference and the premise of my channel. So I hope you stick around and relax, cool, calm, and collective, and feel the vibe. Now, I'm not going to hold you. I do have a little libation in front of me. I am drinking some rosé. Feel free to kick up your feet and relax and stay a little bit. If your preferred libation of choice is water, I got that too. Hey, no discrimination over here. We all get a little parched sometimes. We're gonna go ahead and get right into it. I am happy to have you here. If you stick around to the end of this video, you might have chuckled, you find some interest to spark your imagination. Go ahead and subscribe, put that notification on so you can keep in touch when I upload, because I do not have an upload schedule. Child, I'm just going with the wind. whenever the wind comes around and says go ahead and record something, that's when I'm going to be recording. So hopefully it's consistent, but you know how that shit goes. But can leave a comment, tell me a little bit about yourself, and we're going to get into it. But anyway, it's also going to be a tag for newbies into the booktube of all the things. So I have my questions here, and I'm going to go through them. A lot of these questions kind of intertwine into some of the other questions, so I'm going to kind of like freestyle it. But if some of the questions kind of go into the other ones, just so the people in Booktube know it's not your traditional going through each question individually, I'm also introducing my channel. Okay? All right. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? Thank you so much for asking. So I started this channel as an ode to myself, essentially like a gift to myself, my inner child. And my inner child doesn't stop when I turn 6. This is for, 6-year-old me. This is for 9 and 10-year-old me. This is for 13-year-old me. This is for 16-year-old me. I feel in all those aspects, even into 20-something-year-old me. That's where I am right now. I feel like I have really grounded myself and allowed my imagination to continue to flourish and be great. So that's why I want to start this channel, because I wanted to have a platform for not only for my inner child to thrive, but for my current person to thrive and be my most authentic self. And what does that encompass? And doing all the things that bring me joy. So in this specific instance, reading, storytelling, watching stories, talking about stories, creativity, writing, art, all those things are some of the things that bring my little artsy self joy. So I really wanted a channel that can kind of like balance all those and not feel like I'm boxed into one thing, but kind of like just hold a space for me to bring it all together. So one chunk of that is for reading and stories and books and things like that. So that's why I want to start this channel. It's really a gift to myself. It's a gift to myself for encouragement to continue going on. I recently found my joy that I had when I was much younger and reading, because I was one of those kids that the tweets be about when they say, I used to read like 20 books in a month. That was me. Hello. I don't know what happened. Doing it, reading once you get like a little bit past high school into your college and especially graduate years, you're reading to put something into action. You're not really reading or writing, in my experience, for like just getting lost in creativity and things like that. And as a person who used to enjoy writing poetry, writing short stories, making up stories with my friends and being on the phone, and we're like literally writing a story together, I used to really like get lost in those things. But then the Roaring 20s came, and I didn't really have time for that. But with this channel, I feel like it will allow me to kind of bounce back into that. So fingers crossed. I don't know. I'm just allowing it to be free and flexible and just being authentic. So cheers to that. Next question. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? So specifically talking about how my channel is going to integrate into the Booktube things of it all. One of the things that comes with like being in Booktube are the book reviews, book recaps, things of that nature, right? So let's say the idea came to me. I love watching I love watching reviews on like shows that we watch, movies that we watch, right? Because at that time we have both watched it and now we want to talk about it. I wanted to kind of bring that same idea into Booktube. While I do know that book reviews exist, I thought about like when I have YouTubed or Googled and YouTubed a book that I was interested in reading, or just to see if anybody else has done it. There are not a lot of people who make reviews on books that I enjoy. And if anything, is kind of like a, what did I read in this year? And they just kind of like show the books, and they might give like a 2-second synopsis of what the book was. And yeah, definitely get this book. And if you know, whatever. I kind of want to take it one step further. And I also have to remind myself around like copyright and things like that. Because, you know, when you're watching a television show and you are reviewing a show, and I'm going to use the example of Insecure a lot because it's one of my favorite shows. I just love the show. I loved the writing. I loved the cinematography. I love the storytelling. I loved how it continued conversations past the series finale, and how people who weren't even on board the first season kind of like got on after the insane first season finale. And, you know, on season 2, 3, 4, people are going on, people are binging it. Like, that's what I wanted to bring, like that fire to reviews. And I found joy in kind of like talking about a book with my friend over the summertime, and just like us chopping it up and going back and forth after we were reading like a couple of chapters. It felt like we were watching literally like a movie. But that's just how our minds work, right? But if I was to try to encourage somebody else, like I'm continuing to encourage me, but I'm trying to encourage you to get the book, I'm gonna be a little descriptive. So maybe not all my reviews and my recaps would be as descriptive, and of course I will have like spoiler alerts, but a lot of these authors I feel like don't receive the flowers that they desperately deserve, and I feel like they're boxing this thing. So I aspire to really just bring light and bring recognition and bring like a crowd of people. I mean, I say a crowd, if it's 2 of us, I'm happy. But I just hope to bring like awareness to a lot of these amazing pieces of literature and stories and books that these people are writing, and you can experience it with your imagination. Okay. So that's what I hope. Like I said, with all that being said, my recaps and my reviews will literally be an experience, I hope. They will be a little bit more descriptive, but it will really chop up some things that stress me out. Because when I talk about a book, y'all, I'm not just going to give you like, oh, that book was good and this is, you know, the author really explored this. I'm going to tell you, okay, this is stuff the author explored. Also, this is the playlist I was playing in my head as I was reading the book. And I literally wrote a playlist. You might want to put this on while you're reading the book, because you're going to see why I was playing this song in my head. Secondly, let's talk about this character over here, because let me tell you why they get on my nerves. Like, that's what I aspire to do. Yeah. All right. What are you most excited for about this new channel? I think I said it in the last question, in my last answer. So that's what I'm most excited for. I'm just excited to kind of like expand, encourage. All right, shout out to alliteration. Elevate. Yeah, I'm excited for all those things, and introduce new people, new authors, new characters, new themes, new talking points. Yeah. that's what I'm excited to do. So, all right, next one is, why do you love reading? I love this question for the simple fact that I think, and the reason why I want to start this channel is why I love reading, because I can be so distracted. I have an escape. My imagination is very vivid. Like, keen is the strongest word that I can find. But honestly, if we're getting into it, even when my friends tell me stories, even when I'm about to tell my friend a story, I need you to smell what I was smelling, right? I need you to hear what I was hearing. I want to use another example, but woo! I need you to literally experience it. What do I mean by that? My imagination, or even when someone's telling me a story, I'm a very visual person. I'm an auditory person. I'm all the things connected, right? I need to see, hear, feel it. I need to play the picture in my mind. So I'm going to ask you for details. A good author is going to provide those details. I don't even have to ask for it. I'm not even confused. And if I am confused, I'm going to read that excerpt over and over again until I can have it play in my mind to make it make sense. So I I say all to say, because I love reading, because it allows me to see new things, get out of a space that like I'm probably in. I just love reading to get into new worlds, to learn new words, to meet new characters, see someone's storytelling, get lost, get mad, get frustrated, get excited, feel, celebrations when they're celebrating, fight when they fighting. Like, I love reading for the escape, for the just how it makes me feel. What books or series got you into reading? What books or series got me into reading? Quite a few. I think in my life, I've had different stages that, as I imagine that many people who read do. You have different stages, right? So I want to say from what I can remember, my first through maybe third grade, but specifically first and second grade was a very like monumental period for me, even like my pre-K era, because I was doing a lot of reading in that time span. And the first school that I went to was a private school, and they used to do like this weird like pick me thing where they said, oh, how many books can you read in a year? How many books can you read over the summertime? And I literally have trophies. I actually just threw out the trophy, but I kept the little thing. And if I had it available, I would literally show you to flex, because like 6-year-old me wants to flex right now. But we had this thing where they were like, you had to keep track of a list of the books that you were reading throughout the year, or reading throughout the summer, or reading throughout the term or the quarter. And I had one for like reading 225 books a year, 100 books over the summer, 125. And these are actual numbers. Like, I remember them because, like I said, 6-year-old me is going to hold that. I'm 20 something right now, and I'm still going to be like, I remember that time when I read 225 books in a year. Beat that. I don't know what else I was doing in my free time, but I also had time to learn how to ride a bike, because my dad was teaching me how to ride a bike in that space. I was also, outside and going to play dates with my friends. So I was doing something. I don't know what else I was doing. My mom, like, was this punishment? Actually, I don't know. I just loved reading. So at that time, I don't remember the books that I was reading per se. But when I got into about the 3rd, 4th grade, you had like your summer reading list. A book that is like literally, I see the cover every time, was Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. And if you have read that book, yeah. But I had like those books that I read, a lot of Black history, especially 3rd grade, when I really started to like form my identity. I would say 4th grade through like 4th grade through like 6th grade. I began the Harry Potter series. Well, that was like when the first and second book were like released during that time, like early 2000s. I was also reading like Junie B. Jones, Babysitter's Club. I can't remember any of the other things. I don't know. I was obsessed with the movie Harriet the Spy. Was there a book with that? I don't remember. That's totally different. Anyway, moving forward, 6th through 8th grade, I was really into like the Mean Girl-esque writing for books. It probably was because I needed to relate to somebody, because I was bullied in the 4th grade and into the 5th grade. And yeah, that was like my vibe. I was on my emo stuff. I was reading, like, there was a series that I remember very vividly. It was called Click, or The Click. And it was a series of that, like maybe 4 books. But then we got to the 9th grade, and that just switched, because I went from that, and the girl who sat behind me in my homeroom was reading this book called The Coldest Winter Ever. And I never forget, she gave me like the first page. She was like, here, read this, like, try it, like, let me know if you like it. I read the first page. It was like the first line. Sister Soldier was going to give you an image. Like, I think the first line was like, this time of this day I came out my mama's coochie, or something like that. And I was like, wow, what is this? That was like the first book that I read that changed the trajectory of the books that I was into. I just knew I was somebody's thug princess after that. So shout out to 9th grade, because I took off after that. It was like maybe PG-13. After that, it just went to like rated R, rated mature audiences only. Yeah. And I would go to the what do you call that? The library, because I was at the library almost every other week renting more books. And this is when they had to like actually open it and like stamp it. But I would go up there with my little book, and I'll just be like, because one thing about the authors back then, when they would have like the publication for their covers, it would just be like the most like egregious covers. Like, why is this got to be up there like this, like with her entire titty out? And you know, they probably think I'm young. I'm in my school uniform, because I wore a uniform back in high school, and I would just be like, don't even look at the title. I know it says My Woman, His Wife, but just stamp it. I don't remember me different. Please remember me different. Just stamp it. What does it do? And then I'm doing that. Like, I literally would go there with all the books open, as if the lady could not see on the computer screen what the book was. Because they were also scanning it, but then they would also have to stamp it, because we didn't have like the receipts back then, I don't think. But I would just be so embarrassed, because I was there every week, and she'd be like, oh, here this little whore come back. I was like, thug princess. That's really how I was. It's so sad. So I'm reading about affairs and cheating and being a drug lord's baby mama, and I was loving it. I was loving it. And if you were in any of my classrooms in high school, and I've ever given you a book excerpt to read, like, I'm talking about between periods, girl, read from chapter 12 to 14 and get your life while you in Spanish. Holla at me later. Give it back to me when we in history together. Just get your life. Like, I was known as that girl. No regrets. All right, so that's why I love reading. You see how I just got like lost in that memory of mine? But that's why I love reading, because you get to experience a whole lot of mess. Anyway, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? As far as challenges, I think it will be just remaining authentic. Like, I think I mentioned earlier, a lot of the review videos that I've come across, I haven't watched them all, but the ones that I have come across are books that I have read or are either interested in reading. It was kind of just like trying to find like a quick brief review. I mean, on Amazon or whatever bookstore, you can go on, and read like a review, and somebody will give you like enough to like garner your interest. I love that. Keep me on the edge of my seat. I think it'll just kind of be remaining authentic, remaining consistent in reading. I don't want to have the pressure of like, you have to read X amount of books this year to even be like real. Like, if I read 5 books this year, that's more than I read last year. So for me to complete 5 books would be amazing, and then talk about it, and then somebody else is completing at least 1 book from their like to be read list. Come on, I love it. Anyway, that's a weird question. Where do I read? Wherever. If I'm listening to an audiobook, I am listening to that literally wherever, whenever. What's that Maxwell song? When? No, I'm not gonna do it. And then the last question I'm going to answer is, what kind of books do you like to read? I was gonna say any, but that was gonna be a lie. I think my favorite types of books to read are they vary, right? I like fiction, but then there's also like, let's get a little more specific. What type of fiction? Drama, romance with a twist. Give me a little drama in the romance. Your love story is great, but you know. Now I say that with a wing, and I also say that like I have to be specific because some authors will always give you trauma love. Don't want a trauma bond. But a lot of the authors I feel like I've been reading lately have been giving me trauma bonds. And it's like you want to root for them, but it's also like, sis, you could have so much better. Please, just take it. But yeah, so some drama. I enjoy like reading like short story essay books. Thrillers, psychological thrillers are good. I do like the urban fictions, and I know that sometimes gets the girls in a tussle because, you know, people have their little vendettas around urban fiction authors. But let me tell you something right now. Okay? If you've ever watched the series Power, that's an urban fiction book. And let me tell you why. If the book was written from the perspective of Tasha, that is an urban fiction book. That's literally, baby, a 6-series book from the top to the bottom. If you enjoyed P-Valley, if you watched that, when is that coming back? Does anybody know? I would love to review P-Valley. I might go back and rewatch it just so I can review it. That is 1,000. Isn't that a real book? That's definitely urban fiction. You cannot. Sorry, I just had to like stare at you because if you thought that wasn't urban fiction, baby, urban fiction. So the girls who like to get into a little bit of a tussle when you talk about urban fiction and authors and the writing of that, baby, you watching it. Well, don't even get me started on Tyler Perry. I need you to understand. Anyway, yeah, so a lot of the things that you might enjoy watching is in a book. Same experience. Might be different because it's so much more details. Like you can just watch the details and it'll take out a chunk of that stuff. But I'm just saying. And some of the books that I've read in the last couple of weeks, baby, stressed. Okay. But yeah, so I think that's all. I can't answer them, but they're not giving me the judge that I want to give right now. But yeah, so that's my channel. I hope that you will join me on my reading journey, my reading excursions. Not really a journey, it's just kind of like excursions for my encouragement to stay focused. And I'm happy that I did this. And if you made it to the end of this video through all of my jabbering a couple of minutes ago, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna check this and it's gonna be like 15 minutes because I can talk a lot, you might as well hit the like button and subscribe to keep up with me because I have a couple of reviews that I'm going to drop soon. Baby, get your life. But I'm done. Yeah, that's it. I am going to wrap it up here because like I said, I can continue talking more and more. But that's all I wanted to do. And I hope that you will stick around. I hope you will come back by. Drop a comment, introduce yourself, let me know who's watching and where you're watching from, and answer the question, when's the last time you really let your imagination roam and be free? All right, you guys, love you for watching. Bye.